Now, on problem number 17, we have Monica correctly solved the equation x squared minus 4x equal to 2 by completing the square. So we're going to have to complete the square as well. Which equation is part of our solution? Now, to complete the square, to complete means that we need to be able to add something in order for it to become a square. If you guys notice, in this case, the x's are on the left and the numbers already placed on the right. So they've done the first step for us. So the only thing that we have to do, x squared minus 4x, we are going to leave some space, and the 2 is already on the other side. Remember, what we add on one side, we need to add to the other side. Now the formula for completing the square is b over 2 squared. But we can just do it very quickly in our head. We just basically take half of -4, which is -2, and then we square. So -2 squared is +4. Remember, if you add +4 here, you need to have a +4 on the right. You need to add the same thing on both sides. From here, we're going to go and factor it. On the right-hand side, we end up with a 6. Factors of x squared will be x and x. Factors of 4 will be 2 and 2. And they both have to have the same sign for it to be +4. But they need to add up to a negative number, so they both have to be negative. From here, we have 2 of them exactly the same. So we have x minus 2 squared equal to 6. So we added something in order to be able to have a square. Therefore, our answer in this case, it's already there, will be letter B. If we want to solve, we can just take the square root on both sides, then move the 2 to the right. Let's continue on problem number 18. Which of the following graphs is wider? If it's wider than 5/6, this graph right here. Now I'm going to make a quick graph, just like we've done in class. Or you can use another graph that's on the side. So if we can also use this graph right here on the right. But for now, we have this graph. We have 5/6. Remember, it's up, rise over run. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do it on the opposite side. And I'm looking for one that is wider. So let's say this one is, even though it's negative, we're going to place it up and to the right so we can compare. Up 7 to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that one wider? No. You notice this one's going to be narrower. We have up 3 to the right 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. So there's one that is wider. Now if we do the next one, just double check. Up 2 to the right 1. 1, 2 to the right 1. It's not going to be wider. It's going to be slightly narrower. So your answer will be letter C. For problem number 19, they tell us if I is equal to the square of -1, what is the value of I to the 10th? Now they give you the following definition. You have to remember that that is not a definition that's help us right away to find the solution. But we can take the square root on both sides. The square root and the square root cancels. So we end up with the first definition that we need. I squared is equal to -1. Correct? The square root and the square root cancel. If you square both sides, that will become I to the 4th. And if you square -1, -1 times -1 becomes +1. So those are the two definitions that we're going to be using to answer this question. I to the 10. How many I to the 4s do we have in here? 2. 1, 2. How many i's are left? 2. Anything else? No. I to the 4th is 1. I to the 4th is 1. I to the second is -1. Notice that there are no i's left by themselves, so I know C and D is not an answer. You multiply 1 times -1, your answer is -1. So your answer is B. If there was an I by itself, then we know that there's going to be C or D. But in this case, there's none. Problem number 20. They give the definition for I. If I is equal to the square root of -1, which point shows the location of the subtraction of two complex numbers? Because there's a minus in between, we're going to distribute the negative number. Once we distribute the negative number, we no longer have parentheses. The parentheses, we needed them because we have a minus in between. So negative times negative becomes a +2. Negative times positive is -3i. From here, many of you guys are very tempted to distribute, but we just need to combine like terms, much easier. If there was nothing in between, then we needed to distribute. But in this case, there's a minus. I mean, we'll need to FOIL. In this case, there's a minus, so we just distribute the -1 and then combine like terms. That'll give me -2 and -6i. This is just like graphing a point. Instead of the x and y, we have the real imaginary. That means we're going to go left 2 on the real and then down 6 on the imaginary. So 2 and down 6, so point B. Let's continue to problem number 21. What are the x-intercepts? They're asking you guys for the x-intercepts. You have to remember. How do I find the x-intercepts? We let y equal to 0. From here, I need to solve for x, so I can do different things. I can use a quadratic formula, but just by looking at the answer, we know that's going to be much easier to factor. Factors of 5x squared will be 5x and x. Factors of 8 will be 8 and 1 or 2 and 4. I need to end up with a -3 once I FOIL, so I'll use 8 and 1. I'm going to make that a positive and this a negative. Because that will give me positive 5x, that will give me negative 8x. If I add them together, it gives me -3x, and that matches. From here, it's equal to 0. Because they're multiplying and equal to 0, I can use my zero product property. That will tell me that one of them, or both, will be equal to 0 in order for this statement to be true. It'll be 5x minus 8 equal to 0, x plus 1 equal to 0. Move the 8 to the right, becomes a positive, and then divide by 5. Gives me x equal to 8 over 5. Move the 1 to the right, becomes a negative. Be very careful when you select the answer. Sometimes they look very similar, so your answer is letter D. Problem number 22. What system of inequalities represent the graph below? On the first one, we have a, which you can barely see, it's a horizontal line. Remember, we have x and y, vertical and horizontal. Horizontal means it's going to be y is equal to a number. In this case, it's going to be 1, 2. And we have an inequality, and they shaded the lower side. So it'll be less than. Remember to shade the low side or the top side. The low side less than or the top side. In this case, they shade the low side, so it'll be y is less than. So your answer is not A, and it's not D. On the second equation, your y-intercept is 2. So we have y mx plus b. Your y-intercept is positive 2. Your slope is up 3 to the right 1. So it'll be 3 over 1 or just 3. And they shade the top of the bottom, they shaded the top. Right? They did not shade the bottom. So I'll be greater than. Therefore, your answer is letter B. Problem number 23. what is c squared minus c minus 5? There's nothing in between. That means that they're multiplying c plus 2. So we're going to have to multiply. You need to distribute this times both. We need to distribute the c, negative c times both, and then the negative 5 times both. So let's go and write it out. Just be careful when you write everything out. Just try to do it nice and neat if possible. C squared times c will give me c to the cube. C squared times 2 gives me positive 2c squared. Negative c times c is negative c squared. Negative c times 2 is negative 2. I still need to distribute the negative 5 times the c and the negative 5 times the 2. So we have to distribute each one of them. It gives me negative 5c and negative 2. From here I can combine my like terms. And yes, I did forget c. Right. Sorry for that. So from here I can combine my like terms. Combine those two. Then I'll combine those two. That will give me c to the third power. 2c minus 1c is positive 1c squared minus 7c minus 10. Be very careful, all of them look very similar, so I know it's not this one, and it's not this one, and letter A will be the answer. Problem number 24. We have a long division. So let's see if it fits right here. We have 4x to the fourth plus 14x to the third plus 2x squared minus 2x plus 35 divided by 2x plus 5. We're just going to divide it just like we've done, divided whole numbers throughout middle school and elementary. First, it's the same process. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 2x to the fourth? That will give me 2x to the third. 2x times 2x times 2x to the third will give me 2x to the fourth. Then you need to multiply by both of them. Remember, you need to multiply by both. Some of you guys just multiply by the first one, and that's the main mistake that you guys make. 2x to the third times 2x gives me 2x to the fourth. 2x to the third times 5 gives me positive 10x to the third. Now we need to subtract or just change the signs. That will cancel. So it gives me 4x to the third. Bring down the next number plus 2x squared. So far, so good. So it's a good idea to be able to guide yourself through the answers, because if you make a mistake, you can right away see that you made a mistake and you can fix it right away. Let's see. Let's continue. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 4x to the third? So 2 times 2, so it'll be positive 2. I have 1x and I need 3, so it'll be x squared. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply by both of them. Gives me 4x to the third. 2x squared times 5 gives me positive 10x squared. And we are going to subtract. That becomes a negative. That becomes the opposite. Cancels. So it gives me 2x squared. And we're going to bring down the next number. Minus 2x. And we'll continue with the same process. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 2x to the second? And let's see, before we start, we'll continue. If you notice, this is positive 2x squared. So I know it's not letter C, because that's negative, or letter B. So those two are correct. So what do I need to multiply 2x to get 2x to the second? Will be positive 1x. And notice that it's positive 1x, but the next ones are 8x. So I know that I made a mistake. Right? That's 1x, but the next answers are 4x. So let's see, what did I do wrong? You guys see my mistake? Yes, right here. 2x squared minus 10x should be negative 8x. So what do I need to multiply 2x to get negative 8x squared? That'll be negative 4x. So I can cancel letter No, they're both correct so far. This is wrong. That was wrong. So let's multiply it out. Negative 4x times 2x will be negative 8x squared. Negative 4x times positive 5 gives me negative 20x. I draw the line, and I change my sign. That becomes a positive, that becomes a positive as well. That will cancel. That will give me 18x, and I bring down the next number, which is positive 35. So what do I need to multiply 2x to get 18x? That'll be positive 9. If you notice, they're both positive 9, so we're in the right track. 9 times 2x will give me 18x. 9 times 5 will give me positive 45. Now I'm going to subtract or add by changing the opposite. That gives me negative 10. Negative 10 is my remainder, so it'll be minus 10 and over the divisor, which is 2x plus 5. Therefore, my answer, they look very similar, so my answer is A. Just because this is minus, and it corresponds to our answer. Let's continue with problem number 25. On problem number 25, we need to be able to simplify, and we have two expressions that are multiplying. There's nothing between, so they're multiplying. So we can just multiply the whole numbers. That will give us 6. We have x to the negative 3 and x to the 7. I'm going to combine them, so it gives me x to the 4. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. We have negative 5, and y to the third gives me negative 2. Now remember that you cannot give me a negative exponent. So I just have 6x to the 4, and this will go down as a positive exponent, y to the second. Problem number 26. Just because we have a square, that means that we need to be able to have two of them. 5x to the negative 3, y to the fifth. First, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the previous example. We're going to multiply that numerator. 5 times 5 will give me 25. X negative 3 will give me x negative 6. Y5 and y5 will give me y to the 10th. Denominator, nothing to simplify, so it'll be 2x to the negative 4, y to the negative 5. Stays the same, the fraction, nothing to reduce. Now, on the axis, we have a negative exponent, so it's going to come down as x to the 6. This one's going to go up as x to the 4. This y goes up. We have 10 and 5 more that are coming up, so we have a total of y to the 15. And I still need to simplify my x, so it'll be 25 over 2. There's 4 on top, 6 on the bottom. So 4 cancel, and there are 2 left over on the bottom. Remember to do step by step to make sure that you don't make any mistakes. 27. 27, we have another division problem, just like the one that we did a few minutes ago. Long division, so just be careful, make sure to write small. Inside, we have 8x to the 4th minus 8x to the 3rd plus 2x squared plus 20x minus 43. On the divisor, we have 2x minus 3. And let's go and start the process. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 8x to the 4th? That'll be 2 times 4, add 1x, and I need to get 4, so it'll be 3 x's. 4x to the 3rd power. Let's multiply by both of them. That gives me 8x to the 4th minus 12x to the 3rd. Now we are going to subtract or just add the opposite. This one was cancelled. That'll give me a 4x to the 3rd. Bring on the next term, plus 2x squared. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 4x to the third, 2 times 2, and then I need 2 more x's, 2x squared. Then we're going to multiply it out. That gives me 4x to the third, and that gives me negative 6x squared. We are going to change our signs, negative, the opposite. That should always cancel. That gives me 8x squared. Bring down the next number. That gives me 20x, the next term. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 8x to the second? That will be positive 4x. Multiply it out. 4x times 2x will give me 8x squared. 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x. We are going to subtract or just add the opposite. They both become the opposite. That gives me, that becomes a positive, so 32x. Bring down the next term, negative 43. What do I need to multiply 2x to get 32x? That gives me positive 16x. Multiply it out. That is 32x. Multiply it out, gives me negative 48. We're going to subtract or just add the opposite. We change it, both of them to the opposite. That cancels, so it gives me 5. Positive 5. So my answer, oh, and I have an extra x. My answer will be 4x to the third plus 2x squared plus 4x plus 16. Ignore the x. Then plus 5 is the remainder over the divisor, which is 2x minus 3. Let's continue to problem number 28. Problem number 28, they are asking you to, they give you f of x, which is negative 2x minus 4, and they give you g of x, which is 4x squared minus 2x plus 5, and they ask you to multiply. So g of x is the first one, will be 4x squared minus 2x plus 5, multiplied by g of x, which is negative 2x minus 5. To multiply it out, we need to be able to multiply each of the terms by both. So just distribute the 4x squared to both of them. We're going to distribute the negative 2x to both of them, and then we're going to distribute the 5 to both of them as well. So just be very careful and organize your work. 4x squared times negative 2x will give me negative 8x to the third. 4x squared times negative 5 is negative 20x squared. Negative 2x times negative 2x is positive 4x squared. Negative 2x times negative 5 is positive 10x. Multiply the 5, gives me negative 10x. Multiply the 5, it gives me negative 25. From here, we combine all like terms. So I can combine my x's together, and I combine the x squared together, and those two actually cancel in this case. So we have negative 8x to the third power minus 16x squared minus 25. And that'll be my answer. Let's continue with problem number 29. On problem number 29, we have a composition. We need to be able to find g of f of 3. So we need to be able to plug in the 3 inside the f, and whatever we get, we need to plug into the g. Some of you guys might do it slightly different, but I prefer to do it kind of like the simpler way. They give you f of x, and they give you g of x. First, we need to find f of 3. So f of 3. That means that we need to be able to plug in a 3 inside the f. That'll give me negative 12 minus 5. That's negative 17. Now we are going to find g of our answer. So g of negative 17. We're going to write down the g. 3x squared plus 1. And 17 goes inside. Now 17 times 17, you just need to multiply it out. 17 times 17, that is 9, 49, carry 4. 7, 4 is 11, multiply it out. multiply it out, plus 9, 8, 2. So that gives me 3 times 289 plus 1. So let's multiply 289 times 3. 27, carry 2. 24 and 2 is 26, carry 2. 6 and 2 is 8. So it gives me 867 plus 1, 868. And that's our answer. So that'll be G of f of 3 is equal to 868. Let's continue to problem number 30. On problem number 30, they ask you for composition. They tell you that f of x is 4x plus 9 and g of x is negative 3x squared minus 1. And I need to be able to find g of f of x. So I'm plugging the f of x inside the g. I need to be able to write down g first. That'll be negative 3x squared minus 1. But instead of the x, I'm going to replace it with f of x, which is 4x plus 9. Now remember what I mentioned before. If you want to be able to just do it on the side, I'm going to do a little post-it note to make it just a bit easier. Just multiplying 4x squared plus 9. 4x plus 9 squared, excuse me. 4x plus 9, 4x plus 9. Multiply the 4x times both, gives me 16x squared plus 36x. Multiply the 9 times both, positive 36x plus 81. Combine like terms, 16x squared plus 72x plus 81. So just make sure to save this and turn in with your assignment. In this case, I'm just going to post it right here. That will give me negative 3. 4x squared plus 9 will give me 36x squared plus 72x plus 81 minus 1. I'm going to distribute my negative 3 times all of them. That will give me negative 36, that's 108 x squared plus minus 216 x minus 243 minus 1. I'm going to combine my like terms. Negative 108 x squared minus 216x minus 244. Let's continue to problem number 31. Problem number 31, it asks you to find the inverse. Now remember that this stands for y. And to find the inverse is a very quick process. X, y, and basically I just can't switch them together. The y becomes the x, and the x becomes the y. And then we just need to solve for y. You need to show me all the steps. Some of you guys are trying to do it quickly in your head. You need to show me each and every step. Move the a to the left becomes a negative. That is x minus 8 is equal to 2y. I need to leave the y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Y is equal to x over 2 minus 4. And that's the inverse of 2x plus 8 will be x over 2 minus 4. Remember, inverse, you just switch the x and the y. Number 32. Which order pair is the minimum? You have to remember that whenever they ask you for the minimum, they're asking you for the vertex. They're asking you for the lowest point. To find the vertex, we need to find the x value. That'll be x equal to negative b over 2a. A, b, and c. So this is negative 8 over 2a is 4. It'll be negative 8 over 8, which is negative 1. I'm going to plug in a negative 1 in here to find my y value. So I know it's not A, because my x value has to be negative 1. It's not C. Y is equal to 4x squared plus 8x plus 9. That gives me negative 1, negative 1. I need to square this first. So y is equal to, this becomes 1 times 4 is 4, minus 8 plus 9. Y is equal to negative 4 plus 9. Y is equal to, let's see, positive 5. The answer will be letter D. Perfect. Let's continue to the last page. Problem number 33. On problem number 33, it asks you which describes which of the following best describes the relation below. The relation is a function, the inverse is a function. The relation is a function, the inverse is not a function. So remember that to find whether the relation is a function, we need to be able to draw lines up and down. It can only cross once. So is the relation a function? No. To find out if the inverse is a function, we need to draw lines across. It can only cross once. Once, so that's perfect. Once, that's perfect. Once, that's perfect. Once, that's perfect. Once, perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. So yes. So relation is not a function, so that's not it. It's a function, no, it is not. So that one's fine, and that one's fine. The inverse is a function, so that one's fine, that one's fine. That one's not. So your answer is letter C. You have to go option by option. Problem number 34. Which expression represents f of g of x? That means I need to plug in the g inside the f. So I'm going to write down the f first. X squared minus 7. But instead of the x, I'm going to replace it with g, which is x plus 6. Remember that you want to be able to expand this. Do not give me x squared plus 36. This is x plus 6, x plus 6, then we have a minus 7. Distributive property gives me x squared plus 6x, distributive property, plus 6x plus 36, then we have minus 7. Combine like terms, x squared plus 12x plus 29. No, no, yes. Problem number 35. What are the solutions? Now, if we didn't have this 3, we can complete the square. But in this case, we can't because we have a coefficient of 3. By looking at the answers, I know that cannot be factored. Therefore, I'm going to have to use my quadratic formula. X equals opposite b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. b squared minus 4ac is your discriminant. Also tells you how many solutions you have. Whether 0, if it's negative, 2 imaginary solutions, because it goes inside, that means that you can have 2 imaginary solutions. If it's 0, 1 real solutions, and if it's positive, 2 real solutions. In this case, we're not concerned about the number of solutions, we just want to find them. So b squared minus 4ac. X equals opposite b. That'll be negative b, so it'll be negative 4. B squared, that'll be 4ac all over 2a. So let's simplify that. Gives me 16, that gives me negative 12 times 4. So 16 minus 48 will give you a negative 32. That goes inside the square root. That is a discriminant. Because we have a negative, that means that we can have two imaginary solutions. And that makes sense. That means that our answer should have a 9. So it's not B and it's not C. Let's continue simplifying it out. We can factor this out as 16 times 2. And 16, the square of 16 is 4. So let's see, x equal to negative 4 plus or minus. The square of 16 is 4, so it'll be 4. Inside we have a square of 2. And let's not forget about that. Or if you want, you can continue with the factor 3 all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 comes out, another 2 comes out. Inside we have only 2. So it'll be 4 square of 2. Then we got divide by 6, and we're going to separate our division. Divide by 6, divide by 6. We can simplify negative 2 over 3, plus or minus. And when you reduce, you only want to reduce those outside numbers, those coefficients. So it'll be 2i square of 2 over 3. Divide by 2 gives me 2, divide by 2 gives me 3. Therefore, your answer is letter negative on the front, so letter A. Let's continue with problem number 36. What is the inverse? Remember, this stands for what? To find the inverse, we need to be able to switch up the x with the y. So the y becomes an x, and the x becomes a y. And now we just need to solve for y. You need to show me every step. I'm going to move that 3 to the left, becomes a negative. From here, I'm going to divide by negative 5. That cancels. So it gives me y is equal to, let's switch this around, negative x over 5. Negative negative becomes a positive 3 over 5. So your answer is A. Problem number 37. Number 37, exponent. We have exponents. Remember, a square, so we want to be able to rewrite it twice. I'm just going to use it so I don't have to rewrite so many times. Now, I'm going to simplify the numerator first. The denominator will stay exactly the same. Let's multiply it out. 5 times 5 is 25. I have 2 a's here and 2 here, so I'll be a total of 4. B's have 2 and 2, I have a total of 4. C's I have negative 3 have negative 6. I'm going to simplify once again. I have my negative exponents. This one will go up as a to the 6. So I have a total of 10. This one's going to go down. B to the 4. Oh, no. It's not a negative exponent, it should not go down. I have 4 b's on top, 6 on the bottom. How many cancel? 4. How many are left? 2. And c's. This one is going to go down. So how many c's do I have on the denominator? I have a total of 10. So let's see. I have denominators. I know those are not my answers. And letter B. And the last one. I just did one very similar, but let's go through once again. Number 38. Let's see, we have horizontal line, X, Y, vertical, horizontal, Vanessa Hudgens, Van Helsing. Y, it's a horizontal, so it'll be Y, and we have a 1. Did they shade the top or the bottom? It'll be equal to, but we have an inequality. In this case, they shade the top, so it'll be greater than. Remember, low side, top side. If it's less than, that means they shade the low side, greater than, that means shade the top side. And for the second equation, let's see, the y-intercept is 3. We have y mx plus b. We have an equal sign. In this case, will be an inequality. The y-intercept is positive 3. My slope is positive. And my slope is 1, 2, 3, and over 1 will be 3. Let's see if they shade the top or the bottom. They shade the top or do they shade the bottom? because shade at the top, so it'll be greater than. So you answer greater than, so it's not A and it's not D. So the answer is B. So this will conclude the review for this chapter. Remember to study. You want to be able to look over your main concepts and do a few more problems. If you have any questions, email me, and thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it. Have a great day.